I'm Andrew Moebus, Toromont Cat's mining application specialist, and this week for the In the Iron podcast, we got ourselves a bit of a pirate radio situation here. Jim and Brian and John have all left for lunch and I've stolen the microphone. This week we're going to talk about wheel dozers. But before all of you guys that aren't miners tune out, you might want to give this one a listen. There's a lot going on with this particular type of equipment, and you probably find something in here that'll probably work out for you and start ringing some bells. So why would you use a wheel dozer? Where does it really excel? Ultimately, guys, we're going to talk about a couple of things here. We're going to talk about things really where any light dozing application where mobility and compaction are really important. So things like loading tool cleanup, dump maintenance, road construction and road maintenance, as well as some light material management. So we see a lot of this in coal, which we don't really frankly have in our territory, but we do have forestry and wood chips and chip pile maintenance. This is a spot where you can get around and move around a lot and move a lot of material. We'll start out here. What is a wheel dozer? Everybody kind of looks at these things. They kind of look like loaders. They kind of look like bulldozers. What is it? Well, the truth is, that's exactly what it is. From that articulation pin forward, you've got yourself a dozer with blade sizes that range roughly from your D7 to your D10 size machine. These things can produce a lot of pushing. You're going to have a whole bunch of different blades, from straight blades to SU blades to actually big volume blades to help you move the coal or your wood chips around and moving those really light materials. From the articulation pin back, though, you're pretty much looking at a wheel loader. Starting with the Cat 814 wheel dozer, which lines up and has the back end of a 966 all the way through to the 854 wheel dozer, which again has the back half of a 992 wheel loader. These things are going to have huge commonality, common cab, common look. Really the only difference between the two from the back end point of view is going to be your torque converter. Your wheel dozer is set up with a lock-up torque converter. Really what this does is allows you to push steady and really do that pushing. Any of you guys who've ever run a wheel loader and tried to really spend too much time in the pile, one of those things you see is early torque converter failures and overheats. So that's really what your difference is. This thing is made to push and made to get around and really made to do a lot of great things for you. So let's talk in detail about a few of those applications, especially for our miners out there. Loading tool cleanup, right? I'm going to give you a bit of an analogy. Everybody's got, Lego or seen Lego or been around Lego in their life, and a lot of us have kids that have Lego, and sometimes it may find its way on the floor. Your kids aren't always that careful, and sometimes mom or dad are walking around in their bare feet and you step on a Lego and it hurts. Let me tell you, it smarts. So what's the analogy here? Well, if your kid is a loading tool, your big rope shovel, your hydraulic shovel, and your trucks are you, the adult with the bare feet, those bare feet are your tires. You're leaving around those little tire biters. Those shovels are always chucking around Legos. They're leaving them all over their floor and they're being a big mess. What your wheel loader is going to do for you, that's going to be your Lego sweeper. So where these things work best is, again, with those shovels and those backhoes. You're able to get in and out quickly to do that floor cleanup and keep that floor nice and flat. Any of that spill rock that happens in that loading area, they can tuck it back up into that toe. We don't need to be pushing that toe back. We don't want to be pushing big amounts of stuff. You just want to be tucking that tail back in or knocking that little bits of spill rock in there. These things are great at moving in closely around these large shovels, working on the offside in a double side loading scenario, or tucking up behind an excavator or a shovel that's moving down a bench. Another great use for these is dump maintenance, right? They're really great in an established dump where you got trucks dumping over the berm and you're not necessarily pushing a full load or a double load that's at the tip. What this is great for, again, you're going to be able to move quickly, deal with a lot of trucks and get a lot of stuff done, and you're going to get higher compaction than your track type tractor, more than twice your compaction, and that's really going to help keep that ground firm and smooth, and when it rains, keep that water out from saturating that dump and getting it into a real quagmire. Again, you've also got, if you've got a situation where you've got, you've got two dump faces you got to manage in one tractor, your wheel dozer is going to help you out with that too, because it's going to be able to get between those two spots quickly. The last thing we want to talk about is road maintenance, and these things are great for it. How many times have you guys been on a mine site or a job site and had somebody call out spill rock to watch a motor grader stop what he's doing, and is what we want him to be doing is maintaining that long stretch of stuff, keeping that nice windrow going, get a good piece of material. He tucks that back away and he takes off down the road with his blade in the air to go chase down a piece of fly rock. This is a big, expensive piece of equipment that's not doing what it's supposed to do. It gets there. What does it do? He dozes it and dozes it into the berm. Right? Your wheel loader, or your wheel dozer rather, is going to be able to get around and not have to break away from loading like your wheel loader, but it's going to be able to get out and go and deal with that spill rock and get it back into that berm. They're really great at tucking stuff back up in that berm and keeping that berm height nice and steady. Another good thing that these are good for in your road work is knocking down piles and compacting road building material. So if you've got a real pothole, a little small lake down on your floor and your bench, and you're backfilling some material, whether it's waste rock straight off the face or whether it's crush, this thing's going to do a great job of knocking that pile down, spreading it around, and getting it compacted. Running around, you're going to get lots of compaction there. Again, versus your track type tractor and even your motor grader. So again, your wheel dozer, everybody, it's a great tool. It's a specialized tool, but when you've got the stuff for it, these things are really, really going to save you money. You're going to spend less money on tires on your trucks. You're going to spend less money on your undercarriage on your track type tractors because they're not tracking around everywhere, and you're going to have a great time getting lots of productivity. Your trucks aren't going to be down cleaning for themselves on the floor or waiting on that track type tractor to do it. So again, I better get out of here before Jim and Brian get back and find out what I've been doing with their microphone in their absence. But thanks for joining in, guys, and this has been another episode of the Toromont in the Iron podcast. Hope you have a good week.